Going on, YT? It is your girl, Lea Rae, and you are tuned into the Lea Rae Show. I don't know why I gotta announce that, I don't know, like a real talk show, but that's the way I be feeling when I come on camera sometimes. But anyway, it's late. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and I was originally going to bed, but then I was like, nope, gotta get up and wash these dishes because I'm trying to convince myself that I'm a deep freak because I could be a little cluttered at times. So I was like, let me get up and clean this kitchen because we kind of just been chilling like for the last couple of days with Hurricane Michael coming through and everything, and it got a little messy. So I was like, let me go ahead and straighten up. But I was up and then I started thinking about this story, okay? And it's not just a story, it's like an accumulation of things that have happened to me while attending churches since I've come to the South. Now, I spent half of my life in New Jersey, and that's where my immediate family started going to church on a consistent basis. And I didn't experience this type of stuff that I've experienced in the South at my home church. I feel like, even though, every church got issues, even though, the church that I came from that I consider my home church wasn't a perfect church, I still don't remember experiencing anything like what I'm about to tell you until I came to the South. And that's just amazing to me because it's like there's a church on every corner because this is the Bible Belt. So how is this happening? But maybe that's why it's happening because there are so many churches, you know what I'm saying, that it's almost like a needle in a haystack trying to find one that's suitable for you. So actually 2 incidences happened, okay? I'm going to talk about the second incident because that's the more recent incident that really kind of turned me off. The first incident, basically in a nutshell, maybe I'll talk about that at another time, was when I was mean girled in the church. I mean, I was straight mean girled. It was crazy. But this second time, let me tell you what happened on the second time. Okay, so I had met this girl at work, right? And she was cool, right? So cool that it became like a threesome. Me and my BFF was hanging out with her and we were chilling. Everything was all good. Okay. She was going to a church, right? And I was like, okay, she going to that church. She going to that church. So she had been inviting me to go to that church. I should have stuck with my gut feeling because something was telling me not to go to that church. Not because I thought that anything bad was going on or anything, but I'm really good with vibes. And I just had a vibe like maybe I shouldn't go to this church even though she had been inviting me. So then she started saying that her grandmother wanted to mentor me. Skirt, like mentor me, like you don't even know me. Like, why would your grandmother want to mentor me? I guess she had been talking to her grandmother about me. What about? I don't know, because I really never divulged any of my personal business to her. So what could she have been talking about to her grandmother? But she said her grandmother, she an older lady or whatever, like in her 90s, and she wanted to mentor to me, and I just didn't understand it. And I was like, like in my brain, I was like, nah, that's not cool because I don't know this lady. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I know that however she's coming to me is correct? I'm not getting any vibes from her because I don't know her. I haven't been around her. So I'm not just going to come up to somebody random and be like, yeah, I want you to mentor me. I don't know you. What do you do? Like, where's your receipts? What's your track record? I mean, are you even in tune like that? I don't know. So I was real skeptical, right? So I was like, well, when y'all have like a Bible study or something like that, I'll slide through, maybe come to a church service or something like that. So my husband and I, we decided to go to a church service and we went and it was cool beans or whatever. But I didn't know that I was going to a specific denomination church. Like I heard the name and these are like a chain of churches. And I don't mean to say it like that, but just like you got like AME churches. Okay. That's like a chain of churches. They all under the same thing, right? Well, this was kind of like that. It's like a chain of churches. I don't know. I'm not even going to say, well, it wasn't an AME church, but I'm not even going to say the denomination because there's 2 denominations that sound very similar and I don't want to get them mixed up. But anyway, I was like, okay, I'll come. So we went and it was cool or whatever. But there was one thing that I noticed and that was, they weren't playing any music, right? Like no musical instruments or something like that. And I was just like, okay, that's interesting. So anyway, I don't even know how this conversation came up, but we were texting her and I or something. And what happened? I'm trying to think. Did I go to the Bible study after that? Or did this happen? Like, I think I went to the Bible study. Like, after I went to the church was cool. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Bible study or something like that. So I went to Bible study. Did I go? No, that couldn't have been. Like, the events are getting all mixed up. But I'm going to just tell you these as separate events, but just know that they all kind of went in there together, right? So, yeah, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, I noticed that they weren't using any instruments, right? So I had asked her, and we were texting, and that's a problem too, because people be hypersensitive when you text because they don't know how to read your text message sometimes. Let me tell you one thing about me. I don't ever gotta throw any shade through no text message. I'm very direct. If I have a problem, I'm gonna say that I have a problem. Like, I don't have an issue with expressing myself. I don't have an issue with telling you how I feel. I don't have none of that if I want to. So if I'm gonna say something to you, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm not gonna go try to get from point A to B and go here, there. No, okay? I'm not a ballerina. I don't dance around questions, issues, problems, nothing. So I thought that was understood. You know what I'm saying? Just from the little time that we had been hanging out and kicking it and chilling, I thought she kind of got my vibe and knew that, you know, I'm a straight shooter. But I guess she didn't, because we were texting and I said something about, like, so, you know, asking about the whole instruments thing, and she was like, yeah, we don't play any instruments in the church. We do everything straight from the Bible. It was almost quoted, like, that's what she said. We do everything strictly from the Bible or by the book. And then I was like, where are you getting this information that you can't use instruments from? Because I'm the type of person, if you tell me something about the Bible and I'm really interested, like, I had a small interest in her church at this point, right? I'm going to go look it up. I want to read. I want to know what you're talking about. Maybe I've been reading the Bible wrong. You know what I'm saying? And I haven't read it from cover to cover. I'm not done reading it yet. So maybe I'm missing something. So I was like, so she said something and she gave me some Bible verses, right? I was like, oh, okay. And then I went and read the Bible verses. Now, I mean, the Bible verses. I'm reading probably the NIV version, okay? I don't read that King James because I don't understand that King James. I don't know about these and thous and these, thises and whatever they be talking about in King James. I'm sorry, it don't translate for me. So I read NIV. I read modern translations, and I know some things get lost in translation, but I can get the gist of it better that way. So I'm reading it, and she's telling me that the Bible verses are saying this, right? And I'm reading, I'm like, okay. My thought was, let me ask her what version she's reading, because maybe since I'm reading a more modern version, it has been, like, translated, you know, it, like I said, things have been maybe lost in translation. So I texted her, I said, well, what version are you reading? The girl started snapping. I'm like, why is she snapping? I was so confused. Like, I did not understand why she was so hyped, right? And then I was like, let me give her a call, because I don't know why she's, like, angry. Like, she felt like I was trying to get smart with her or something, right? So I called her. I was like, what's the problem? Like, I called her on the phone, like, what's the problem? She's like, no, you trying to, like, what Bible you reading? But no, hun, that's not what I meant. I literally meant, what version of the Bible are you reading? When you go to your Bible app, there's about 50 different versions that you can click on. What version are you reading, so that I can read the version that you're reading, so maybe that I can understand? So she was like, oh, okay. So I felt like she was already on edge with me. I don't really know why, but I was like, we squashed that, right? So then she had still been talking about, so after that was cool, right? But she had still been talking about me going to her to go meet, like, some of her family members. I don't know. Her grandmother was in there about the mentoring and stuff like that. So I was like, well, you know, if you're having some kind of, like, what's it when they have, like, like, if she wants to minister to a group of women, I'll go and I'll go with you to that. But, like, one-on-one, I don't really, you know what I'm saying? I'm not really with that. So let's try it that way or whatever. So she was like, okay. So I forgot, I think it was Bible study that she invited me to or whatever. And I was like, I'm going to come to that. So went and had Bible study, right? Okay, went and had Bible study. It's after Bible study, and she wants to introduce me to her family members, right? Because her uncle is the pastor of the church. So she wanted to introduce me to her family members. I was like, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I only really rock with my BFF, right? And I don't have a lot of friends. So, you know, if somebody is trying to, like, you know, develop a relationship with me, because by this time I had already been by her mother's house and everything like that, right? So she was introducing me to some folks, and then she decided to introduce me to her grandmother, right? So I go and I start talking to the grandmother, and I sit next to the grandmother. Then the grandmother starts asking me questions, right? And she's like, what did she ask me? It's something that triggered me. I cannot remember what that lady asked me, but it was something, I don't know. I just remember I started feeling the pressure. I can't remember exactly what led up to it, but I just remember she said something and I said something, and then she said, I used to be just like you. She was low-key trying to call me a heathen, but I don't even know why. I think she was trying to tell me something about, no, this is what it was. I remember now. We started talking about them instruments again. And I guess the girl I was cool with had went back and told her grandmother what I said about the instruments and how I didn't really interpret what it said in the Bible like that. So her grandmother started bringing up the instruments or whatever, right? So we were talking about that, and I was like, well, you know, I didn't really, something to the fact like I didn't really grow up like that. I read the Bible verses that she gave me, but, you know, I didn't interpret it like that, you know, and, you know, my reading comprehension skills are up to par. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't really get it like that. And she was trying to argue with me about that, like low key. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't trying to be disrespectful to no old people. You know what I mean? Excuse me, not old people, but elderly people. You 90-something years old. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay. And then that's when she was like, you know, I used to be just like you. And I was like, just like me? Like, what's just like me? I don't understand that. In my brain, but I wasn't saying it out loud. So she started talking and talking and talking. Now, while she's talking, the girl I was cool with, her mother come up to me, right? I don't even know. I'm trying to think. It was my homegirl even with, because now it's her mother talking to me and it's the grandmother. I don't even see her at this point. She could have been there, but in my memory of this situation, maybe I had tunnel vision. I don't know. I didn't even see her, right? So in the midst of all this, we sit down and her mother comes up. Now I'm on a pew. It's her grandmother. I'm sitting to the right of the grandmother. The mother come up behind me and she just joined in the conversation, right? So we talking. And then the mother goes, are you saved? Skirt. I was like, yes, I'm saved. And she was like, well, how do you know you saved? I said, right there in the church, I said, hold up. See, this ain't feeling right. I said, this feel like pressure. And they was like, oh, no. We not trying to pressure nobody. I said, yeah, you may not be trying to pressure nobody, but I feel like I'm under attack right now because you asking me if I'm saved. Y'all kind of ganging up on me. No, we not ganging up on nobody. I said, well, that's the way I feel. So they tried to piece it over. You know what I'm saying? They tried to like smooth it over and stuff like that. But at that moment, I was not feeling them no more, right? So after I got out of that situation or whatever, I went home, I told my husband, and we never went back to that church, right? But I was still cool with the girl. Anyway, I feel like that was like the downfall of the little friendship that we had started, because then found out later that she had like, I guess she was like, something about me was getting on her nerves because we used to do things together, but I'm usually the one to suggest to do things with everybody. Okay, because I feel like people don't be wanting to do anything. Maybe I live in some kind of fantasy world. Maybe I live on TV or something like that. But I want to go places. I want to do stuff like, hey, let's go do this. Let's go take a walk here. Let's do some active stuff. Let's go out to eat, whatever. So I'm always the one orchestrating this, because if I don't, I feel like people will not want to do anything. You know what I'm saying? So I would do that with her a lot, and we would get up a lot. But she was saying that I always have to run stuff. Like, I'm always trying to take over the situation. How am I always trying to take over the situation when I created the situation? It was my situation to begin with. I'm just orchestrating it. I'm just leading it, okay? Because I came up with the idea. So how am I trying to, you know, run stuff? Then she tried to say that I was trying to be I was too opinionated or something like that. Sometimes I understand that, but sometimes I don't. Like, what kind of people do you want in your life? You want people to be in your life and you just tell them whatever and they just be like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Like, that's dumb to me. Matter of fact, that's how I was with her anyway, because she started telling me, like, when the first time we hung out solo dolo, she started telling me her whole life story. I'm talking about from her point of view, how she was living reckless. That's what she, you know what I'm saying, started telling me. And I didn't say nothing about that. Matter of fact, it wasn't even reckless. It's just the life choices that she chose at that time. If that's what she wanted to do, then she did it. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like listening, right? So this is what really, I guess, threw her off, which it shouldn't have thrown her off, right? She was into selling like costume jewelry, right? Now, the crazy thing about it was I had already had in my mind since years before about getting my business license, but she had her business license, right? So I used to pick her brain about that because I just thought that was amazing that she like was going to like Atlanta buying her costume jewelry, like wholesale and all this kind of stuff. And I had like, since I moved down here, I had a friend who owned several businesses in the town that I was working in, right? Prior to that, prior to even becoming friends with this chick, I had asked my friend, I told her that I wanted to get a business license, but I needed a business address, right? And I asked her, since she already had a business and she had a location, and she had a general business license, if I would be able to use her address as my business location. So she said yes. And it wasn't in this town. It was like the next town over, right? So I had already inquired and kind of like started the process mentally. So she was like, yeah, just go get your business license, whatever. So in the midst of all that, I had met this chick, and then she had been doing her little business thing on the side, right? So I'm like, well, how did you do this? What do you do? Whatever, blah, 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 blah. So she actually inspired me. And I was like, you know what? I told her, I was like, yeah, you know, I want to go get my business license too, because it's a couple of things that I've been like accessory wise wanting to sell and stuff like that, right? Now, she took that as I'm trying to steal her business. Okay, first of all, I'm not trying to steal your business, because I wouldn't even be trying to go after your customers. That's like if you do hair and I'm interested in doing hair and then you inspire me. Now I'm like, okay, I really want to do this now. I'm about to go, I don't know, go get my business license and start my own salon, or I'm about to go get my business, or maybe I'm not even about to go get a business license. I'm just about to start doing this on the side or whatever, because you've been doing it on the side, or you have your own business and now you're inspiring me to do it. So now I want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we into the same things, I can't help that. So she thought like I was trying to like take over, and she was telling people that like, oh, you know, like if I'm doing something and you my friend, you can't do that thing. Like, that's not how we do. And you know, because she was from Atlanta or something like that, I don't know. And she was like, we don't do that. We don't try to steal each other's hustles. Why do you think I'm about to steal your hustle? First of all, I don't need this little side thing that I'm trying to get into. Like, I don't need that to eat. I've been eating because I've been had a career since 08, okay? Graduated in 07, been had a career since 08. Why do I need to eat? I don't want to quit my career that I've been in all these years to go do what you doing to make little side hamburger money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to play her or nothing like that, but like, that's what it was. Like, it was side money. That's what I mean. I'm not trying to eat off this hamburger money, right? So, like, that's like the vibe she started getting. Now, mind you, this is the thing that threw me off about her. She never came to me and told me. She never said like, look, I'm just trying to do this. I don't understand why you want to do this too. Or like, why do you want to do this? Like, keep it 100. Why you didn't come to me and say this? Why I got to find out through the grapevine and all this? This is what you've been saying. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't really feeling that. Like, that threw me off, right? And then What else did she say? So the friend that was talking to her was like, well, I don't even think like she's really into it like that. She kind of dibbles and dabbles in a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't even really sweat it like that. But I don't really think she's trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? But it was too late. I'm done now, right? Now, mind you, these are church folks. Okay? These are church folks. So I'm like, all right, I'm done, right? So when I'm done, I'm done. Delete your phone number, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever. I'm done. So I deleted her, right? And I was 100% done with her. Then I ran into her a few years later at the Walmart. So ran into her. It was all good. Matter of fact, she actually tried to follow me back on Instagram after I had deleted her off Instagram. But I had accepted the friend request or whatever, and then I went back and deleted her off my account because I'm just like, nah. Because we never talked about the situation, right? This all started, it was cool, then it got wrapped up with church. Then you started like talking about me and stuff like that, and I don't got time for that. So I just like, I saw her at Walmart and it was all good, and then I was just like, I'm not about to deal with her anymore. So I just kind of like stopped following her on Instagram. Not deleted her off my account, not like blocked her because she might still follow me, I don't know. But I just can't like rock with that, you know what I'm saying? Like that really threw me off. And that's like my bad, that's not even the second incident. That's the third incident. No. That was the second incident, and there's another incident that happened after that. So the first incident, I was mean girl. The second incident is I was ganged up on about whether or not I'm saved, okay? And then the last incident, which I haven't talked about, was that people that I know were, that are really like heavy off in the church, were going around telling people who is saved and who's not saved. Like, how you know who's saved and who's not saved? But, you know what I'm saying? Up until this point, I looked at you as possibly like, you know what I'm saying? You had some qualities that I looked up to. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like, I look at you in a whole different light because you think you got the power to go around and tell people, what the outcome of their life is, how their life is going. You don't know, because the only person that knows if they're saved or not is the person, because they're the only person that has that individual relationship with God. So that was the third incident, but I didn't even talk about that. So not to mention the fact that most of the people I know that go to church have not even invited me to their church, and they know, and I have expressed to them that we're out of a church home. Okay. So at the same time, with all these things happening, I've been skeptical. I've been 100% skeptical. And it's very hard to find a church, because once you've been traumatized, once things like this have happened to you, then you start to get turned off of the church, and you start to become more concerned with your relationship with God as opposed to going to the church. Now, do I want to go to church? Yes. Do I want to find the right church? Yes. Have I found the right church? I did find the right church, but due to some extreme circumstances, that church, due to a tragedy, put it that way, that church is no longer, it's still there, but the pastor of that church has moved on. And that was the church. That was the church. But it was a diamond in the rough, and I was gone. And people know that my husband and I, like I said, don't have a church home, but they don't invite us to church. They don't invite us to no church events. Like, that's sketchy to me. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool, though. Cool beans, because you don't invite me to your church. I don't want to go to your church, because that's how your church roll. So just with all these events that's happened, like, that's why I got an issue with church folks, because I've seen it firsthand. I wish sometimes that I hadn't experienced these things, because I would still be green behind my ears. I would still be coming off of, everybody in the church is cool. Everybody, and not that everybody's perfect, but just in my own experiences from the church that I went to when I was growing up. And this is my own perception. Everybody might not have this perception, but everything is love. Maybe because I was younger and I didn't really know everything, the ins and the outs, because there's drama in each church, but I just didn't feel the way I feel, or have been, or I didn't experience what I experienced when I came down here. So that's why I got an issue now. And not only with that, with people in general sometimes, but if you got any church horror stories or any church folk horror stories, just go ahead and drop those in the comments below, and let's talk about them, because everybody want to keep it on the hush hush and everybody want to speak around the bush. But this is the kind of stuff, these are those real conversations that we really need to have. So let me know some situations that y'all might have caught yourselves in, and just some advice about maybe how to move forward and how not to be so skeptical and how to break down this wall that has now been built. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this video. And until next time, people, it is your girl Lea Rae on the Lea Rae Show. Peace.